So in the wake of the election, there have been a bunch of different appointments made for different cabinet ministers, including our next guest, Pierre Fitzgibbon, who is now Quebec's Economy, Innovation and Energy Minister and Regional Economic Development Minister for the Montreal region.
It's a lot.
Mr. Fitzgibbon is on the line. Minister Fitzgibbon, thanks for being here this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
I think my first question is, are you sure you have enough on your plate?
Yeah, it's going to be a good mandate. I'm very happy that the Prime Minister gave me that opportunity.
And can I ask, when you see something like this, a super ministry given to someone, clearly that's a vote of confidence for the work you've done up until now. Were you the one to ask for this, or was it the Premier's idea?
No, but in fact, when I decided to come back, because we discussed, the Premier and I, back in April and May, he asked me if he wanted me to continue. And I said, we reviewed what would be the mandate, what is required in Quebec to fulfill his objective to get more wealth in citizens, to create wealth actually. And I think it was important for me that the energy was aligned with the economy, with environment, of course, and also, as far as Montreal is concerned, to get all the Montrealers to embark in the same bandwagon, so to speak, so we can all collegially get to the objective to enrich Quebecers.
So I want to ask you one thing, and that's an interesting way that you put it now, right, by combining these. But there are people out there, I'm sure you're aware, that say or suggest the economy and energy portfolios are not necessarily a natural fit and that it puts too much power in the hands of one ministry. Why is that not the case as far as you're concerned?
Well, there's a due process at the government because, of course, my claim to fame here in terms of what will be the vision for Quebec in the next 10 to 15 years is anchored on two things. One is anchored on innovation. We need to innovate better, and this is part of a program we launched in the spring called the Stratégie québécoise de recherche en investissement innovation, SQRI. But the second pillar is how we use our renewable energy to both create wealth for Quebecers, but also to fulfill our objectives under the climate change process of reducing our emissions. So I think environment and economy can cohabitate. Now, the issue will be, Mr. Legault has set up a committee which will include the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Economy, myself, Energy, the Minister of Environment, Madame Brochu, and himself, to look at, are the projects aligned to the multiple objectives we need to address, which is obviously social responsibility, environmental, climate change goals, and also create wealth. So that committee has been set up to make sure the projects that we would recommend at my ministry are aligned with the fulfillment of all objectives of the government.
Minister Fitzgibbon, you just brought up the name Sophie Brochu from Hydro-Quebec. There was a little bit of consternation, if you will, what might happen next. There has been some conflict. Do you have anything to say to that? What is the status right now?
Well, first of all, from my vantage point, there's no conflict with Madame Brochu. I've been knowing Madame Brochu for a number of years. We have had meetings before, so I don't think it's a personal conflict. The concern, perhaps, out of Quebec is their independence, and it's a big question, right? We need to leave the state enterprise to be as independent as they should, while respecting the fact that the ultimate strategy objectives are defined by the government. So I think it's more an issue of how will the Minister of Economy and the Minister of Energy, having to be the same person, will cohabitate, because they always been a Minister of Energy. So whether it's part of economy or it's part of something else or alone, I don't think it changes. I think that it allows the economic development to be unified. But again, if we do not take into consideration important issue as social and environment, then the Prime Minister's office won't let that happen. So I think it's going to be, the proof will be in the pudding, so to speak, but I suspect the whole thing will work fine going forward.
So I understand the part about the issue with Sophie Brochu not being with you directly and being with the government, because she said, and I think we all remember that she would step down if she found herself in a position of irreconcilable differences with the government. You're suggesting, don't worry, that's not the case. That's not what the outlook here is, right?
Well, my intent is not to bully out of Quebec. My intent is we need to use renewable energy as a lever to create wealth while respecting the whole ESG, the whole climate change, environment we need to address. So I think those two are not irreconcilable. So therefore, I think
okay.
Providing that's respected, I think everybody will be happy.
But there is an issue there because obviously Hydro, I understand, has many different companies, organizations wanting to do business with it. And I think one of the concerns from what I'm reading is that some people worry that maybe, we end up doing too many deals, selling power too cheap to all those who want our power and kind of leave ourselves short. Is that a consideration?
Well, I'll put the context into that if you don't mind. I mean, to look at the profitability of a project for Hydro-Quebec is fine. But we have to look at deeper than or larger than Hydro-Quebec. For example, we could be selling hydro at a set price to a company that will pay more taxes, that will have more high wages, that will sell green products, that will provide other benefits. So I think we have to be careful not to look at that only with the eyes or the lenses of Hydro-Quebec. So there needs to be we need to assess globally with the impact on contracts. I think it's wrong to say companies are coming here stealing electricity to do their own things. I think companies are also respectful of the environment. But this is about explaining. This is about explaining to the population why we're doing this or what we will be doing. That's why this committee will be very important, because once we decide to go with a cluster, whether it's a battery cluster or any other cluster, we need to explain why we're doing it. Furthermore, I think we're embarking in a situation where there'll be, I wouldn't say scarcity, but there won't be enough electricity for demand. So we have to be very cautious, and the assessment as to where we need to provide renewable energy has to be measured from a full government perspective, not only from the Hydro-Quebec perspective.
Okay, let me shift and go from another one of your ministries now, or at least something under your purview, and that's the fact that you are now the economic development minister for the Montreal region. I think it's fair to say, Minister Fitzgibbon, that in the past, negotiations between the city and the province haven't exactly always been the most productive. The Premier seems to have given the impression that Quebec City and not Montreal is where he thinks the focus should be going forward. So what will your mission be in ensuring that Montreal gets what it needs to secure its future?
Well, first of all, I think I'm responsible for the whole Quebec economy, and Montreal is at the core of the Quebec economy. What's good for Montreal is good for Quebec. I'm probably the most Montrealer of all the MNPs, just given my age. But, I understand Montreal. I live in Montreal. I pay my taxes in Montreal. So therefore, I feel very comfortable that I've got the knowledge base. B, I feel good because I've got a good rapport with Madame Plante. We met yesterday. We spoke last week. I think I share her concern. She's very focused on housing. She's focused on, obviously, security. And she's focused on public transportation. Those are three elements that I'm comfortable with as well. And, of course, she's focused as well on the economic development, which I was doing anyway before. So I think that to say that our government, given we only have two MNPs in Montreal, we're not Montreal concerned is wrong. I think we are, and I feel very comfortable I can deliver and I can reconcile this so-called divide. And frankly, I want to stop the divide because it's not Montreal against the rest of Quebec. I think we have we're a small community, 8.5 million people, so we should be all working together.
Well, that's encouraging. We'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the fact that you have seen your fair share of controversy having to do with ethics issues. Is that all behind you now?
Oh, it was behind me a long time ago.
Nothing more to say on the subject?
Absolutely not.
Okay, well, it's interesting. There are 4 ethics investigations going on right now, and understand they're mandatory. They have to happen. You're not involved in any of them, so we don't have to necessarily touch on that. I will ask you one other thing with respect to Montreal. I'm sure, as a Montrealer, the economic impact that our terrible traffic has on this province, and it's about to be made significantly worse by the work that's going to be happening on the La Fontaine Tunnel for the next 3 years. How can you be, say, more proactive than your predecessor?
Well, first of all, I think we're all unhappy about that. 3 years of 50% reduction in traffic. I think I've been talking with my colleague Geneviève Guilbeault, just took over the transport ministry. I was with Valérie yesterday. We talked about that there's mitigation plans. Of course, there's limitation, but Geneviève is working very, very hard with Madame Plante. I think they'll be announcing some plans. I don't know when exactly, but of course it's a big concern because it's all the commercial, all the trucks coming through. It's unfortunate. I think we kind of knew it. I think that the severity of the situation got further understood as they dug in the tunnel, I guess, in the summer. I guess we're paying the price for infrastructure deficiency that has been going on for about 40 years.
Yeah, and a lot of that money, people will say, should have come from the provincial government. It wasn't. So does that get fixed?
Well, I mean, I think, there's an overall issue in the province that, I think there's been infrastructure deficiency, not only tunnel, but also the school system and so forth. We are a victim of that. At the same time, new infrastructure are required. So we're talking about how quickly can we get all the construction labor forces to work together to remedy that. Unfortunately, it's going to take some time, but this issue with the Louis-Fontaine tunnel obviously is of a high concern because the Montreal economy is driven the rest of Quebec as well. So I wish I could be more jovial about this, but of course we have to deal with it. But listen, I think we should all put our heads together, and I think I'm confident that Mme. Guilbeault and Mme. Plante will come up with the right recommendation, and I'll be there to support them if needed.
So let's talk quickly about something that would be a great boon for the Quebec economy. We've heard that Tesla may possibly build its next big factory here. What do you see the likelihood of that being?
Well, we're very strongly involved in the whole battery file. I would say at this point in time, I'm focused on the foundation, which is to get our minerals up to the ground, out of the ground, and converted here as far as we can in the value chain. Right now, we're working on. We've announced BASF. We announced POSCO. We are building. We will be building cathode, which is the largest component of the battery. We'd like to get a gigafactory here to be done to make cars. At this point in time, and there's no serious discussion on that, but there's a lot of investment we can do before that. We will do commercial vehicles. We do right now school buses. We will do ambulances. We will do others as well, and we'll be recycling. So there's this cluster, this EV file is huge. Can we get at one point car manufacturing? Perhaps, but frankly, I'm more focused on the foundation of making batteries. This is going to be sustainable for a couple of decades.
So final question before we let you go. So as the economy minister, you talk about wanting to expand the course and have Quebecers have better jobs and get more pay. Clearly, there's a labor issue here, not just here, across the country. How do you fix the situation here with respect to shortage of labor? How is that fixable?
It is a challenge. Of course, the productivity enhancement is at the core. We are underproductive here, generally speaking, so all the programs put together at the Investissement Quebec is to increase productivity. That's one thing. The training is also important. A lot of the jobs do not require university degrees. Therefore, we can train people. I think we got a big plan to do that. Of course, immigration will be also an important factor as long as we respect the French language issue we're addressing right now, but we're not opposed to immigration. So it's a combination of productivity, training of people that could be quote unquote recycled into new jobs, good job as well, and also with the right dosage of immigration.
Minister Fitzgibbon, I want to thank you for your time. Oh, I see. Hold on. Natasha's hand is up. What do you want to know?
I want to know, since you live in Montreal, what is your favorite restaurant in Montreal?
Don't.
Yes, I do. I don't
want to say it
there
because
you go.
It's not fair for the others.
Okay. That's not fair for the 200 other restaurants.
I'll do it offline.
Okay.
Minister, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Take care. Pierre Fitzgibbon, our new Economy, Energy, Innovation, and Minister responsible for Montreal.